So our panel topic is ethical hacking in the world of hacker hiring. And what we're going to talk about is a couple different viewpoints, but like I like to do when we do these panels, we're going to try to get more of your questions, and then we'll try to get some other redirects as we see necessary. All right? And I've got here Raoul Chiesa, who actually I thought was quite impressive because he says he was one of the first Italian hackers. And being a user of many of the Italian tools, EtterCap, one of my favorite tools and stuff like that, I think it's quite amazing that you're one of the first ones, because the EtterCap tool is one of these tools that we love to use to do man-in-the-middle attacks and stuff like that. Then I've got Shane MacDougall, and he's got an interesting background. His is in social engineering. So he actually has won 2 years in a row the actual social engineering contest for DEF CON. For those you don't know, DEF CON is this big hacker conference we all love to go to. I think it's year 21 in 2013, yeah, because 20th year was last year. And last year we had 15,000 people at this conference. All right, so it's grown from being this really small conference to this really large, huge conference. And to be able to take the trophy 2 years in a row in the social engineering contest is quite a feat. So I think we got a very good and interesting panel here. So I'll open it up and let them, Shane, you want to start with your presentation?
Oh, are we flipping it? Okay.
Sure. No, he's listed first.
I thought I had 10 minutes grace there to not panic.
10-minute grace period.
Did you guys have my slide? Oh, wow, that was fast. Hello, my name is Shane MacDougall. I am a professional hacker. My company does a lot of computer security consulting work, as well as what we call competitive corporate information gathering. Some people refer to it as corporate espionage. I prefer my name better. Apologies for my clothes. The airline lost my luggage, so yes, this is the same shirt I was wearing yesterday. I apologize. And this is the clicker. All right. So the question I was originally asked was, do we and our staff know what details to give out? And my answer, probably not. At least not without the right training. And to be honest, the information that we need to perform a successful social engineering attack comes from a ton of different places, and these are just a few of them. But the information that you protect as an organization most likely is not the information that I'm going to be going after. So for example, and of course, what is going on with my screen? Sorry, bear with me for a second. I don't have my glasses. All right. But the information that you protect is probably not going to be the information that I'm going after. For example, I will never ever ask a person on the phone, what is your password? Because that's things that we tell people never to give out, right? So I go for a lot more esoteric information. So let's reframe the discussion. We need to reframe the discussion to be, do you know what details have already been leaked out by your organization? Goodness gracious, this machine is not cooperating with me. So it's really important that every organization go out and do what I call a deep dive. And that is where you basically go out and you do a real deep assessment of what information is out there about your company. Use Google, use other tools, and completely scour the web to find every single nugget about your organization that is out there. Find out what data your employees are bleeding. All right? The more of a social media presence they have, the bigger the security risk they probably are to your company. But more important, it's really important that you guys go out as an organization and say, what information are we as an organization putting out online? Because I see it over and over again. Management tells employees, be very careful what you put online, right? Don't post about this or that. All the while, they're being very blissfully unaware of the data that they're posting online. Because we really work hard to gain and support end users and customers. But at what cost? Are we being too generous with the information that we put out in public? Usually the answer is yes. Slides, sales documents, conference presentations, press releases, corporate websites, social media, job postings, these all leak critical pieces of information that an attacker can use to target your infrastructure, and also usually of value to your competitors. So what is your organization putting out there? Check, you'll probably be very surprised. I'll give you a perfect example. Walmart, probably one of the most secretive companies out there, goes to great lengths. They implement what they call a Fight Club rule, which is you don't talk about our data centers. And yet you go on Google, and there's tons of images about their data center. I'll give you another example. Oracle, they basically have one major data center in Austin, but they don't put any information out at all. But if you go on Google and type in Oracle Austin Data Center, the first thing that comes up, the address and its phone number. Right? So no matter what you do to protect your data, other people are going to breach it on your behalf too. So I'll give you another example. Here's a question. What are your vendors telling about you? Well, this year at DEF CON, one of the questions for the social engineering Capture the Flag was, we had to find out who does the food service at their headquarters. And I couldn't find this information for the life of me. I found almost every other flag online, but this one I couldn't. So I went, you know what? Let me ask online. So I posted on ask.com, who provides the food service at Walmart, right? Not even an hour later, the vendor posted the response online. I went, okay, that's very interesting. So I, next thing I posted, well then, who does the antivirus? What version of antivirus do they use at their website? 3 hours later, hey, well, we happen to use this following antivirus. What was interesting is Walmart was able to get the antivirus question removed, but for some reason they left this one on. But next year, all I'm going to do for the contest is go to ask.com, put in the 75 flags I'm supposed to gather, and let ask.com do the work for me. So how do you identify the leaks? Well, I recommend that you engage a knowledgeable third party to do it, kind of like my company does, and they'll know what to look for. Don't use social media companies, because they're more concerned with brand recognition, and that stuff doesn't really help you do it from a security point of view. But identify what information the company is leaking and stop it. So what next? So we've started digging about what information we've already leaked. Let's focus about the information our staff are leaking out. So I want you to look for things, data that can be used by a social engineer and a hacker to target your company. So things like site locations, security procedures, the software you use, organizational lingo and acronyms. That's very, very helpful for an attacker. This is often found on job boards like Glassdoor.com, which I find just to be a gold mine of information. It's also where you'll find people that are disgruntled, not happy. Those are great people to target for revenge, or revenge against their employer. But my favorite site is LinkedIn. LinkedIn's amazing. I mean, you can not only build an org chart of most companies just from the data you find on LinkedIn, but you can identify activity with respect to research. You can find what applications are being used. You can identify groups that are in flux with high turnover, and that usually indicates a problem within a department, which for me is a perfect target to attack. What university they've gone to, et cetera. So and that sort of information at first might not seem very helpful, but it's very helpful. University you went to could very well be used as a password, right? Something to do with like the mascot, the team, that sort of thing. Twitter's another great tool. It basically allows for geolocation of individuals. It tells me their favorite hangouts, their coworkers. The information that they leak is not necessarily work-specific, hopefully, but it's still information that's really of value to a social engineering attacker. Because I can use this information to create online relationships with the targets, to bond with them, and to exploit this relationship to gather data. Okay, it's not changing for me. And on it goes. I mean, all these social media sites are just gold mines for hackers and social engineers. Facebook, Foursquare, it's crazy, but I see it all the time. Company data centers, you'll see this all the time now, that have Foursquare check-ins. Does that seem right to everybody? It's kind of odd, isn't it? Let me give you some more examples that I found from Foursquare. So this is like a typical Foursquare page that I found. This was for Walmart's Bentonville headquarters. Look at the first one. Watch out for the security guard. He loves to badger the unbadged. So I know which entrance to avoid, right? The Arvest ATM near the cafeteria does not invoke a surcharge when used, regardless of your financial institution, right? That sounds pretty innocuous, but yet if I'm coming in and posing as an employee, who else would know that, right? That's a very esoteric piece of information. And the same thing, don't forget your badge, right? We see a pattern emerging from this one site. So we know if I'm going to target a building, this is not the building to go without a badge. But then sometimes we find sites like this. So this was one that came up on Foursquare for their headquarters. And yes, that was definitely irrelevant to my interests. Because in this one slide that they posted, that one screenshot, we're able to ascertain the operating system, the browser, the antivirus, the file that they use to open PDFs, Microsoft Windows is on the box, Microsoft PowerPoint, and on and on and on, from one picture. And I didn't have to send a single packet to the company, right? Are we starting to see a pattern emerge here? This was Oracle last year. Somebody posted some pictures from a Diwali celebration within the company. And you'll notice, thanks to DSLR cameras, these are gold mines. What I was able to do was, through several of their pictures, blow the pictures up to full size, basically create copies of people's company badges. Not only that, I was able to grab people's names, their positions, etc. And again, more badges here. And the other thing that it gives me, though, is now I have information about a Diwali celebration that was at a particular building that I know particular people were at. And now I can pose as an employee. Don't you remember me? We met at the Diwali celebration. There was that delicious gulab jamun. Bang, right? The relationship is made. And don't just worry about online data. I want you to do this sometime. Go to some restaurants that are near you and sit down and listen, that are near your organization, and listen to the chatter that your workers have, right, that they're giving back and forth. You'll be amazed at the amount of information that leaks just from lunchtime conversations, right? Stuff that would make a CEO blanch. It's really important that you check this out. Come on, it's not changing for me again. Even voicemail systems. I dial into your voicemail system and I start traversing all the messages that I get. Well, what's some of the information that I get from voicemail messages? I get the name, the position, the department they work in, sometimes a cell phone number, information about when they're going to be out of the office, which is very helpful to me, an alternate contact, all very valuable information to an attacker. So are we doomed? Well, you know. But to fix this, it takes real commitment from the company. Come on, it's not changing. So I would recommend every company implement at least these 5 basic steps. Teach employees how to read email headers. Teach them to identify phishing campaigns. Teach them how to interpret certificate warnings. That's really important. You don't want employees clicking through just randomly, yeah, okay, this pop-up, okay, okay, okay. Implement a word of the day or the week, or a callback feature. If you don't know the word of the day within the company, and you're asking information and you're posing it as an employee, you're probably not an employee. Have all employees participate in training, including building a dossier on each other. I find this is a very, very effective tool. Once people realize just how much information they bleed through online social media, what we find is people shut down their online accounts, and that's a good thing for you. Implement a reporting and investigation mechanism within your company to report and investigate social engineering attempts. And finally, engage in a third party for ongoing social engineering and open source intelligence gathering assessments, because that really will give you a full picture of what your company is bleeding. That's it for me. This is my contact information. Please feel free to meet up with me after the talk.
Thanks for Shane. Okay, Raoul.
Good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to be back here. I recognize a lot of representatives from the OIC CERT convention last December. May I have the slides, please? Okay, I decided to bring you, given the strict time, a short introduction, so like a step back on social engineering, and then instead of telling you slides that all of us we already know, let's go for a real case study. And I decided to bring you a video that I will get into the details now. I have a mandatory disclaimer because, as you know, I represent a lot of institutions, so all the views expressed in this short presentation will not represent the views and opinion of the institutions written over there. Who is Raoul, what I'm involved in, but I will skip it just for you to keep on the slides. A brief introduction to artificial engineering. I'm looking for the laser, should be there. Who knows the Condor, Mr. Kevin Mitnick? I brought you a couple of pictures to have fun together, and then the case studies and the clip. So who am I? I represent a bunch of institutions and logos. Again, it's just for you to read on the slides because maybe one day you will need a contact to United Nations, to CyberDefCon, ENISA, Lucid, or the Italian MOD, or Team Kimmery, APWG, and whatever, so I can be your outreach guy if you need. What I do is highlighted in bold, but in this case, we go for social engineering, pen testing. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a vendor. I like everything I do, and I lead an international team, highly specialized. What is social engineering? It's used in many flavors of people in order to obtain something that you should not disclose, as Sean told us. What are this kind of information? Is intellectual property, unauthorized access, public and private phone systems, physical locations. But all of us, we already know this. So let's go further. Let's change the viewpoint, and please trust me. I know that it's kind of fun to say, trust a social engineer, but please do it. Social engineering users. Most of the time that we think about a social engineer, we think about some people like Sean and me. That's wrong. It's not only us. Think about the politicians. They are among the best social engineers in the world. The salespeople, the law enforcement. Whenever a police officer stops a car for a control in the street, he must pay attention to a lot of behaviors, and all of that is psychology. Corruptors, industrial spies, intelligence people, corners, actors, playboys. I will go back on this. Hackers, of course, freakers, fishers, and even you. Every day when you speak to your boss, to your head, to your wife, in a way or another, you are a social engineer. Which are the basic laws? Human beings trust people, so we always believe what somebody is telling us. And point number two, a computer acts much better than a human in need to store the information, but once again, the human itself is the best candidate to reveal them to a third party. So why should you be interested in this? This is Mr. Kevin Mitnick. He's famous all over the world, the most famous hacker in the world. He's a consultant now. He has been arrested for a lot of years. He was one of the most famous case studies. Here, he is going to explain, he explained why and what. So often it was not you using a keyboard and a modem, but pick up the phone and simply asking to the person for the access password I was looking for. But again, we know this already. So let's go further. Okay. The Condor and Nobody. My nickname used to be Nobody. I started to hack back in 1986. That was a long time ago, with no internet, no Facebook, and not all of the fancy things. Kevin wrote two great books, in my opinion, that I'm kind of sure you already know, Art of Intrusion and Art of Deception. Especially in the second one, there are a lot of real stories about this. But this is the way we look officially, but we do other things together. This is a nice dinner with Raptor, I know, Rice, some of the famous exploiters in the world, and Kevin some years ago. And this was me, social engineering on Kevin. So I cannot explain in public the meaning of the picture, but try to understand on your own. Let's go to back serious, or a kind of. I said Playboys earlier, and this is a true interview with Kevin a long time ago on VNU, where we're speaking about the stereotypes that there are about hackers and girls and this kind of thing. So this is, again, for fun, and now I will become a serious consultant and advisor. Real case studies. Since 1996, I performed with my teams more than 100 social engineering based intrusion tests. I would have enjoyed a lot to bring you a lot of case studies, but time is too short. So I decided to skip slides and whatever and go for a clip. And I would like to spend a couple of minutes, a minute at least, to tell you the background of this clip. It's about a financial institution that hired us for a 3-month engagement. Most of the time when I speak with my colleagues from US, the engagement time for a pen test is very short. It's 5 days, it's 10 days, it's a couple of weeks. This customer amazed us because he asked for a pen test only on social engineering. No hacking, no phreaking, no other fancy stuff. So we've been able to perform more than 20 successfully attacks. And the bold ones are the ones I'm going to show you in the video, but we also had the USB key claiming to be from the fire department and pretending to run a test on the fire extinguisher. IT manager and phishing, that's a classic. Pretending to be HP, IBM, or whatever, and we have to, you know, there is a hardware, some stuff to do. That was so good. That was a colleague of mine that he noticed that in the company they have a big ice cream boxes and beverage machines, and he pretended to put yourself inside of that and send a delivery because we told the customer that the machine was broken, there was a problem by factory by default, and to substitute it. ISP and IVT, I will show you some pictures. So in the clip that I'm going to run now, there will only be a few excerpts from the pen testing activity. A couple of points before we begin. This is an attack from 2006. So no LinkedIn, no Facebook, no Google Heart. But I decided to show you something so old because you may realize, and it can help you to think about, that you don't need all the times the fancy facilities of 2013. Old school always work. So if I can have the video, please. Originally, it was in Italian. Over the plane from Hong Kong, I put the subtitles in English. Another thing I forgot to mention while it's running, are you using the VLC? Because if you use the player from Microsoft, actually, the video has been performed by actors because the CIO of the bank was so happy about the results that he hired actors in order to replay all of our attacks.
C'è una grande azienda che fa dei dati che gestisce la base del suo business, strutturata con avanzati sistemi di sicurezza e controlli severi, ma che può avere un punto debole: il comportamento superficiale delle persone. Ecco alcuni esempi di attacco che possono essere portati ad un'azienda per reperire informazioni riservate. Il primo attacco viene svolto dopo la fase preliminare di raccolta informazioni e appostamento. Gli agenti possono quindi interpretare i ruoli di un cliente del centro commerciale e di una studentessa universitaria. La falsa studentessa, dotata di microtelecamera, si è trattenuta dalle ore 7 alle ore 21 annotando orari, abitudini aziendali, ubicazione dei sistemi di sicurezza esterni e riferendo ai colleghi le sue sensazioni.
Livello di attenzione basso, non sono stata notata. Le aree esterne non sono presidiate.
Il falso cliente del supermercato, dotato di macchina fotografica digitale, ha parcheggiato l'automobile davanti all'ingresso dell'azienda, fotografando la sede a distanza ravvicinata. Così ha avuto modo di osservare gli orari di apertura dei cancelli, le modalità di accesso all'azienda, il comportamento di alcuni fornitori. Durante il primo attacco si è scoperto che l'azienda si serve di una società di pulizia esterna.
So a couple of comments on the video. First of all, whenever you think about trashing and dumpster diving, you think, wow, it's so cool. No, because the people throw like bananas in the basket, coffee mugs and whatever. So in the video, we blow all of that away, but it's a dirty job to be done. Point number two, that's a huge similarity with Sean talk. When we played the Headhunter, you got no idea the employees, your employees, how many informations are going to disclose in order to be cooler and hoping for a better job and a better salary. So that's a way, even the security staff, when interviewed, they told us the name of internal projects, all the kind of the database, firewalls, how they configure stuff, and so on, and they should really not. Point number three, technology about the survey. In 2006, we had that small camera. Right now, the watch I have has got a camera and can record and take picture. The technology of today, the IT gear, is incredible, and we may run that survey in 2013 in much more classy way and high-tech way. You haven't seen a lot of other things. We throw USB keys all around. That is a standard now, but in 2006, it was something, wow, smart idea. We played the fire extinguisher and the fireman thing and so on. But we also, me, myself, I just obscured the logo, like choose your telecom logo over there, enter there and pretend to be from the telecom, from the ISP, and you just ask, is internet okay, is working properly? Everybody will answer back, no, it's slow. That's the standard answer. So, well, we got a problem, let's go, let's check, and we built a special bag. Again, it was in 2006, that contained a switch, a spam port, and we just connect directly to the backbone and start to sniff everything, all the data. Conclusions, 2 advices, and I'm done. Attackers will always find a way to break the mental defense of the human target. So it's like when we speak about cyberwar. Assume you are compromised. Assume it and do something. Awareness and training are the keys to survive. But again, why I'm telling you this? Create a material. The video I showed you has been asked by the CEO after our test. And at the dinner that the company performs every year, he showed it by surprise to 1,000 employees. He hired a big cinema. No one knew about this. And when they started to watch the video, they recognized themselves. And they realized that job offering was an attack. The thrashing thing, I don't trash the data, all of this. So, on my humble opinion, a video is much worth than 1,000 slides of training, and so on. There is a methodology, an international standard, OSSTMM, which is free, is open source, is the methodology all over the world for professional pen testing. It includes a chapter on this kind of attacks. Employees must learn that they are the key elements in this context. And some new challenges are coming up, especially when speaking about outsourcing, call center, and expats from other countries. So these are the questions and answers that you should teach to your employees. Should you give it out? Why is she asking? What I should give out? What would be the impact? Am I sure I should do? And in any case, ask someone. And LIST. So here are already a kind of best practice compressed in a single slide for all of you. If you want to ask me of other things, my email is there and my public key is there. Thank you for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed this thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Raoul. As we've said all along, the human factor is one of our biggest challenges because we always want to, it's the mentality. We want to help people. It's like it's very easy when somebody asks you for assistance to give them information. The best example I can think of is in the UK. One of the newspapers there did a survey and literally asked a question as they came out, can we have a password? and they gave a bar of chocolate if it gave away a password. 30% of the people that came out of the grocery store gave away their password for a bar of chocolate. All right, that's just the reality we live in. People do these types of things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up for questions. Can we get the mics down and around? Has anybody got any questions for Shane or Raoul? I don't see any hands. You shocked them. They're still in shock. Remember, it's 2006, so those types of things are definitely still valid today. Yes, we got a question right there. Can we get a mic over here?
You should be suspicious if anyone with the film crew.
Yeah, thank you. Fatih Al-Farsi from Petroleum Development Oman. Just wanted to hear more from the experts on their experience on kids' exposures from a social engineering perspective. Are they more vulnerable? I mean, any real, real-time reflections or, a case study around that matter?
Around kids, you're saying around kids as far as are they more vulnerable to give information leakage and those types of things?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, about the kids, no direct experience for a couple of reasons. First of all, at least in Europe, we cannot attack minors. We have privacy issues. Even the newspapers, they cannot publish the pictures of minors under 16 years old, but that depends on the country. Yeah. Point number two, from a personal point of view, I mean, I know that when we speak about social engineering attacks, the people think that you can do everything. No, there are some rules, maybe some written rules, but it's a matter of being fair. So my personal opinion is that, yes, of course, if I would think to attack the iPad of your daughter, it can be very easy, and I can grab some information about the mother or the father, and then you use it for a further attack. But that would not really be fair, elegant, and out of standard. I don't know if you have other. On the other hand, the picture that you showed that were not 100% about the children, but the context in a family, in the house, in the apartment, may help the attacker to gain more information and data in order to perform a more customized attack. Any other comments on your side on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue with kids these days is they've grown up immersed in this open idea of sharing information. I mean, those of us, I mean, I know we sound old saying this, but we grew up with an idea of privacy. I mean, now we look around and obviously privacy is dead. But these kids have never understood this idea of not sharing. I mean, kids tweet when they sneeze. Oh, I just sneezed. Here's my tweet about it. I mean, they're out there sharing this information, oversharing. So I think it's a very good concern. We definitely need to teach kids, that sharing everything's not good. That there is a use for privacy, and it does put them at risk. I mean, look at the growth of pedophiles on the internet. I mean, it's easy pickings for them out there, and it's because the kids make themselves so available with so much information that they're so easily targeted. And I think as parents, we really need to kind of rein this generation in because they have no concept of privacy or privacy.
An additional advice I have, especially because the event is endorsed by ITU, and we have Mr. Obiso here. A few years ago, I contributed to a project of ITU that is named COP, the Children Online Protection. You can find it on itu.int/COP. It contains a set of papers for the teachers, the parents, educators, and policy makers, and it's really full of advices on how to train your children from a security perspective and privacy perspective when being online. So this could be also a part of the answer for you, lady.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yes, the mic, where's the mic?
It's not a question, just I want to share something about the Twitter because it's just something I know. I think we all intend to follow, and the more problem with us is we follow people who did something and without really thinking about it. So I think maybe some of people already here tweeting about the event or something. So just an incident happens some time ago that there was one person who loved about tweeting. I'm here, I'm going there, I'm doing that, I'm in this airport, I'm planning to visit this country. Yeah. And people were following, and his wife, everybody, oh, he is there. And it just was going, I'm in the airport, I'm going to be there, I landed, everything. And then he said, I've been kidnapped, please help me. So the point is, it was so easy to know whether there is this guy that the people were waiting for him to come, kidnap him, and now he's tweeting, they need ransom. That's easy. So I think the point is, we here, we have to think, it's not about company, because what you brought, the issue is about company, I agree, but I think there is more than that. We intend to be fantasize about things we do. We believe we are the best in things, so we share things we're not supposed to, and the border between confidentiality and none becomes something fake. It's not there. Should I share about this picture that's sitting next to my table as we show or not? It's not. And from company perspective, I have a problem because where I can stop that, I cannot do that. So the only way we do at the moment is I requested this, and I said to many here, we need to do something called social engineering, re-engineering. Means that you have to look at people, what they do, and shock them with the thing. So it's going to be it's what they call privacy issue. We might do it like you tell somebody you dropped a USB key, somebody pick it up and do it, and he said, listen, and that thing was fake, so you point to his website to him, say, listen, you should have not done that. And that's where the re-engineering come back, because if you talk about story, most people say, not me, I don't do these things. It's a denial which we have in mind. So I think we look, but I haven't seen anybody look at social re-engineering means that you backfire on them by their own way of doing things. So I think that's a good thing, opportunity for people to come with something. Thank you.
Well, like I stress, I mean, I can't stress enough how effective having employees sit down and spend 2-3 hours profiling another employee just from stuff that they're able to grab off the web. And you see this light go off in their heads like, wow, I give out way too much information. Because when they see other people doing it from the eyes of, they're a fake attacker, they make that connection. And it seems to be, until they're actually doing it, hands on keyboards and building the dossier on other employees, it's this ethereal concept. Oh, yeah, we shouldn't do that. But once they actually spend the time doing it, I've seen it time and time again when people say, yeah, I'm closing my Facebook account. But you can also use Twitter. If you follow my Twitter stream, don't believe everything that's in my Twitter stream, because I deliberately tweet false information. And I know a lot of other security professionals do this. I mean, you want to poison the stream. You don't want them to know what's real and what's not real. I mean,
so don't pay
you can use
attention
it
to his
for
tweets.
many reasons.
Don't pay attention to your tweets.
Well, my opinions are right. My opinions are, I don't fake my opinions. But yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, in the back. We got the mic. Can we get the mic right there in the back? Where's my mic runner? He can get there before you will, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Muhammad Al-Hajj from Sudan CERT. Thank you for the valuable information. My question is, in your opinion, what is the best way to trace back the social engineering crime or criminals?
Most of the times, well, I would answer you with a question. Are you really sure that you will realize that you've been social engineered? And when you do, maybe it will be too late and the attacker will have vanished away. So it's among the, I think that along with freakers, social engineers are the most difficult attackers to trace back. One answer can be of course from the EC cameras. If you keep the records, I mean, they need to expose in a way or another. This is why I insisted so much. I selected the survey, the external survey thing, because even if playing like a student or a tourist, whatever, but they have to show themselves and control you. Car plates, the model of the cars, the faces of the people. This is something. Point number 2, but again, it was different in 2006, when it's about phone calls and social engineering by phone calls. If you keep the record on the PBX of all the incoming calls, you may be able eventually to trace back, but as you know, it's very easy in a lot of countries to get an anonymous SIM card, and then you throw it away. Point number 3, when it's about the phishing and spear phishing, if you keep the log, you may eventually be able, thanks to the law enforcement and the ISP, to trace back the original IP address. But again, we know that it takes really a couple of seconds to use a booms or to anonymize everything. So it's, I'm sorry, but it's not so easy to track back a social engineer.
Okay, well, we're out of time, unfortunately, but I was going to let Shane address that question, and then we'll close down the session.
If you're talking about on-site social engineers, one thing I found really, really effective is you offer cash bounties. You know, say, you know, just say you're randomly going to have auditors come through the building, and whoever stops that person, if they're unbadged or unrecognized, will get, you know, an envelope with $100 in it. And once people have this idea that they're going to get a bounty for stopping someone within the company, you'd be amazed at your ROI on it. It's crazy, but people are very money motivated.
Okay, well, as we're out of time, I want to thank the panel for answering the questions. And if you got any questions, of course, you can talk to them offline. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can even do the